Welcome to the Perfect Day podcast. I am Cokie Barini, your Perfect Day wealth engineer, and I am so excited to have PJ Phyllis Johnson here today with eFundYourHealth.com.
Thank you very much.
I am so glad you're here. And Charleston is so much the better for having badass women like you. Building and growing incredible new and exciting platforms. I mean, say no more when we talk about alternative healthcare, crowdsource, crowdfunding platforms.
That's right. Thank you very much.
I love that our lives collided here in Charleston.
Absolutely.
I was invited to be a mentor for the Harbor, which is a entrepreneur accelerator here in Charleston. And that is how PJ and I met.
Yeah.
And PJ's platform, which I hope you're okay with this.
Absolutely.
I call PJ's platform a better and a new and improved GoFundMe.
Yes, I love it.
And so you know that Perfect Days are about philanthropy, and you know that Perfect Days involve giving back and random acts of kindness. And when we think about that and you want to think of the biggest, most exciting tech play out there right now, it's GoFundMe. But guess what? I have the next best thing. So look out, GoFundMe.
That's right. Here we come.
So PJ, thank you so much for joining us here today. I'll tell you, the listeners are going to benefit so much from understanding your background, a vast 20 plus years.
Pretty much.
Yeah, in IT with the likes of Northrop Grumman and many others.
Yes.
So I think that the listeners can really benefit from hearing how you transitioned from that background into, running and starting and creating this incredible idea that is so fueled by passion.
That's right.
That the story is exciting. So I don't want to tell the story. So take us through how you decided and why you decided to start eFundYourHealth.com.
Okay, well, thank you first, Cokie, for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to mentor you.
Absolutely, and you've been such a pleasure to work with and so knowledgeable and experienced, and I'm taking in all of that good data that you give me.
Oh,
so
thanks.
I really appreciate it, but thank you very much.
I didn't ask her for the plug, but I appreciate
I'm passing my $5 under the table right now. But I am in the IT industry for a lot of years, and yes, it's probably 2 decades, and I'll tell you what's so good about that is I worked with large corporations and small corporations, startups out of Silicon Valley, Northrop Grumman, a big systems integrator, Cambridge Healthcare Systems, a large healthcare and scientific distributor. And those years taught me so much about business models. I ran sales and operations and engineering organizations. I managed acquisitions. I ramped up different types of vertical markets for the IT industry. And those years taught me so much about business, the variables for success, the variables of failure, the courage, the teamwork, all the things that go into building success in a business.
We love talking successes, but I also want to talk failures, so that's good too.
That's a reality,
Yeah.
and if you haven't failed, that just means you haven't learned something.
Yeah, well, suffice it to say,
right.
your background has been super challenging, but you needed more.
Yes, absolutely. Right on target there.
How did that happen?
And unfortunately, it happened with my child was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at the age of 22. No disease in the family. I'm not from a healthcare background, even though I ran Cambridge Healthcare Systems, which was a distribution channel. And when Dane, my son, got sick, it was a shock to all of us. And I'll tell you what, it was unacceptable to me as a mother to feel totally incapable of helping my son. And that is the biggest impression I got, is I don't accept not being able to be empowered and to make change and to affect, especially for my own child. So through the years with his struggle with Crohn's disease, his own strength and courage and encyclopedic mind picked himself up, and we tried every option we could to bring him back to health. And those options included alternative and natural medicine. And it was those options.
Major growing market right now.
That
right?
is exactly right. Exactly right.
Many are stepping away from the traditional fields of medicine.
That's right. Exactly right. And the reason why is as consumers or patients or those who need health care, we're learning a lot. We find out a lot, and we're doing our research now. And we're
Right.
saying, what is best for me? And my son Dane is huge, as his generation is, right? Those late 20s, early 30s somethings.
Yes.
What is best for me, and how do I empower my life? So together, I walked down this road with my son, and I provided the financial means to enable us to try many different options. Unfortunately, many of those options are uninsured.
Right.
So it took a lot of cash. And as he continued to go onto the road of health and healing, and went on to become a practitioner, founding Crohn'sColitisLifestyle.com, I looked at that and said, my lesson is if I didn't have cash, my son may not be alive today. And I took it upon myself and looked at all the sites out there and all the opportunities with such a large growing market. And I founded eFundYourHealth to enable people of all income levels to access the options that I was able to access for my son. And that was the beginning. That was the fire for
so
eFundYourHealth.
awesome. There's so many perfect day stories within what you just shared.
That's fabulous.
I can't tell you how often in these perfect day discussions, and how lucky am I? This is what I get to do. I'm just honored. And if
That's
I
right.
hadn't thanked you already, thank you. I mean, this is
Well, I appreciate
truly an
it.
honor to be able to have these types of discussions.
Absolutely.
But the theme of family that gets weaved through
Yes.
these perfect day discussions with extraordinary entrepreneurs like yourself. Another thing I also heard was cash.
That's right.
You had the cash and
right.
I think that's, as we talk about, as I like to talk about, demystifying money.
There you go.
And the creation of wealth, and defining, what true wealth actually looks like. True wealth is not just financial,
That's
right?
right. That's
but
right.
it would not have been a perfect day for you if you had not had that cash when your son was
That's
not
right.
well.
I feel blessed by the fact that I did. And I feel I was taught at the knees of my mother, who spoke often of finances as she sat her little children down at the table. And
I
we
find
all
that hard to
listened.
believe.
Isn't
That's
that something?
rare.
That is rare.
That's rare. Can I ask
Yes.
how old's your mom?
She is 85 and kicking.
I mean, it's not
Absolutely.
it's not often that you hear of someone of that generation that
That's
talks
true.
about money.
That's
so
true.
let's take 60 seconds.
Sure.
How did that happen? That your mom came to be okay to talk about money? Because
Well-
women. And where are you from? Are you from the South?
Yeah, I was raised in California
Okay.
and moved to Mississippi in junior high.
Okay.
So I
got a little
call
of both.
myself an international foreign experienced person, okay? Culturally diverse, let's put it that way.
Right. Right. Well, either way. Okay. So the California might explain something.
There you go.
But kudos to your mom
Yes.
of not having the fear of talking about money, and talking about money with
That's
your
right.
children at a
That's
young
right.
age.
That's right. It's interesting. She is actually, in fact, to this day, she is still probably more conservative with her spending than I am. So she taught me, she was big in real estate. She taught me about saving and not spending, and we heard it all the time. And more than hearing it, we actually watched it. And I'll tell you what, she's a hard worker. Okay, she works hard, and she's stable and secure. And so as children, we watch these. Now, also as children, you want to rebel against your parents, right? So I go
Right.
out there and I'm ready to do the whippersnapper thing, right? My mother's more stable with her skills and her finances. But when you take both skill sets with courage and entrepreneurialism, but you've been taught fiscal responsibility by a parent, those lessons stay. And what's good about that is it taught me to really, the biggest lesson was depreciating assets. I'm sorry, I've heard that term since I was 10.
Wow. Now who's slipping the $5 bill under the
I
table?
know
I did not pay her to say that either.
She would not invest in a car versus a house because of the term depreciating asset. So to this day, I still only purchase cars that are a few years old where the depreciation has already been occurred.
Of course.
And
Okay,
I love
lesson
it.
number 1, never buy a brand new car.
There you go.
I mean, come on. Yeah, so if you don't know this, listeners, speak up. I mean, you can even get a used Tesla. It's all right.
There, absolutely. Enough years on the market so far, right? Yes.
Correct. You know,
Yes.
I have, my girls are 13 and 14. And so when you said crack the whip and shy away from or run away
right.
from what your parents are trying to extract to you, I get that.
There you go.
All too real right now.
That's right.
But you always go back to your core values, don't you?
Yes, you do.
And so that's really what the concept of true wealth truly embodies, is marrying your money and your finances to that of your true core values.
There you go.
And it's sort of a crisis right now, as you see a major influx of millennials and entrepreneurs
That's right.
growing in the space. I mean, it's come to be that entrepreneur could be synonymous with the term unemployed,
Yes.
right? So, but there's so
That's
many
true.
businesses that are cropping up because people think it's easy.
Right.
But if what was handed down to them by earlier generations was a core value of hard work,
That's right.
then
And fiscal responsibility.
and fiscal responsibility and
That's right.
courage,
Yes.
then it's more likely than not that
Right.
child or that individual is going to have a successful business. And I think it's the transferring of true values
That's right.
or the true wealth values that created wealth in the first place.
That's right.
If you start to try and create wealth in the next generations without those values, it's not a recipe for success.
No, it's not. And
Yeah.
it is a learning curve for me it was, when I started eFund Your Health, to marry those values that I was able to implement in my career and did very well, but then move them into a mindset of passion. That was a new experience for me. I loved the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I loved those years. IT was ramping. You know, I thought I was a fabulous businesswoman. I thought I may have been the salvation of the American economy, right?
I love it.
Until the economy crashed.
Yeah.
And then I learned lessons. Then I learned true lessons. I was able to ride the high of the IT industry, but when it crashed, they were hard lessons. And I had to go back and say, was I assuming strength in certain areas? Was I imagining strength? So I had to rebuild in a different time. And the 20s and 30-somethings coming up now have a different world than I had. So I watch those, they have tremendous courage. And they need, just as I did, that training in fiscal management, fiscal responsibility, and the ability to ramp up a financial success that's linked with their courage. I have to commend them on their courage, because only now with this new passion do I have that kind of courage. And I'll tell you what, it's me and the 27-year-olds out there that are also
Right.
jumping. I know it.
You're swimming in the pool.
I've gone
with
backwards
them.
here. That's right.
You're swimming in the pool with them.
I'm
And I
learning
think-
from them.
And I commend you for your courage. You know, a part of perfect days, every perfect day for me, for you, for listeners, is always doing something by daring greatly. So you're
There
doing
you
that
go.
right now. We're going to go to break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I'm really excited to, and I know our listeners will want to hear about this new and uncharted territory you're wading in. Actually, you're not wading into anything. You've done the full-on cannonball.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so after break, we're going to come back and talk about how it feels to be in uncharted territory, and this concept that you've shared with me, the unity of humanity.
I love it.
So,
Absolutely.
and thank you for being with us again. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you shortly. Looking back over last year, do you have any regrets? You know, the new year's coming soon. So it's that time for resolutions. And I have to tell you, don't do it. Just say no. Do you know that 40% of us make resolutions? And I say us because I've been one of those people. But shockingly, 80% of those people come mid-February have abandoned everything. Why? Because resolutions don't work. So what are your regrets over the last year? What didn't you accomplish that you wanted in 2018? And why didn't you accomplish them? Do you need a reset in 2019 for a better framework for achieving your resolutions? There's a few simple steps for you to take in order to be successful this year and having your best year ever. First, in perfect day style, you have to drop the perfection. Next, if you're not clear on what you want and why you want it, and if you don't surround yourself with a support network that can help you get there, you're going to be a part of those 80% who just drop the resolutions. So dropping the perfection, the clarity on what you want and why, and surrounding yourself with support are your keys to success for 2019. Having your best year ever involves big vision. Big vision requires different activities. And different activities to be successful requires a framework. 411 is the framework for your success for 2019 to be your best year ever. I'm committed for 2019 to be my best year ever. So I wish you'd join me in creating your own customized 411 framework to create your best year yet. You can get information on your own 411 framework, which, by the way, the tools are free. Download Perfect Day, the book, today. Welcome back to Perfect Day Podcast. I am Cokie Barini, your Perfect Day wealth engineer, and we are here today talking with PJ Phyllis Johnson of eFundYourHealth.com. PJ, I loved talking on break about unity of humanity.
Yes,
Those
absolutely.
are big, warm and fuzzy words. So tell the listeners about the unity of humanity as it relates to eFund Your Health.
Yes, absolutely. What that is that concept surrounds eFund Your Health. It represents the community that comes together to enable people of all income levels, all facets of our society, people in different demographics in our society, to access options, medical options, that are uninsurable. Those are natural, alternative, functional, all types of different options, to include conventional as well. This is about an integrative approach to healthcare. Integrative. We just want all of our options. The eFund Your Health, the corporate structure, includes the ability of donors in the wellness industry, corporate donors and philanthropists, to give tax-deductible donations to our partner nonprofit. And what we do is then our practitioners on our site refer their patients to the site, those patients who don't have enough funds to afford the services. Mm-hmm. Those patients go on the site, they raise their money, just like GoFundMe, they raise their money, $1,000, $2,000, and then our nonprofit legally is able to grant funds to those patients and move forward to notify their practitioner that they have the funds, so please go ahead and set up your appointments. It reminds me of one of our clients or one of our patients that we have, Matt. Matt came to us from a practitioner that signed up on our site. It's very easy for practitioners to sign up. They fill out like 5 boxes, that's it.
Nice.
And Matt came in from a practitioner, and Matt started with the practitioner.
What was Matt's complication, health complication?
Matt has Crohn's disease,
Okay.
which is an inflammation of the intestinal systems. They don't really quite know what causes Crohn's disease, but it's in there with ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel disease. It is a chronic level of an irritable bowel disease called Crohn's disease. The body is no longer able to absorb nutrition, which causes a myriad of trouble.
Right.
Exactly.
And as several people with Crohn's, it is not something you want to live with.
It's devastating, of course, when my son has it as well. So Matt came into us from the practitioner on the site. From there, the practitioner coordinated another practitioner to work with Matt. He was 95 pounds when he came in. He flew down to another one of our practitioners. They worked together, and Matt raised the funds for the site, and then our site augmented his raise by, I think Matt got about 25 to 40%. Our site attempts to do a 100% match based on our donations. However, we are very careful with the donations, and I think we did 25 to 30% for Matt.
So in theory, Matt puts in $1,000. He may see more money that actually comes to him to help pay for these therapies.
That's right. And that's the big differentiator from GoFundMe.
Wow.
They raise their money from family and friends.
Right.
And it looks a lot like GoFundMe. They are referred in by the practitioner. That way we know that they're friendly to alternative medical options and an integrative approach. And then our partner nonprofit augments and grants them immediately when the campaign closes. Within a week, the additional grant funds are populated onto their debit card, and they receive a debit card that's restricted to medical, so that the donors who have provided the money from those corporations, to your question about the unity of humanity.
Right.
So everyone who's helped, for example, Matt, were corporations such as Designs for Health, which is a big corporate donor to the nonprofit.
And I understand you just signed on Clorox is possibly coming on board, which is an unlikely partner.
Isn't that something? Water purification. Isn't that
Okay.
something? It was
Okay.
really exciting. Yes, we did. We met them at a conference where we spoke this last week.
So you've got practitioners, you've got donors, and you've got corporations all coming together.
That's right. And patients.
And patients.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, in addition to that, of course, we have the investors. This is about everyone that can impact a change to American healthcare and move the needle to an integrative approach to medicine.
Now you're getting me warm and
tell ya.
fuzzy.
That's right.
Yes. And it's interesting because I do have, I've been lucky enough that as my investor base grows, the people that I get to work with and help them grow and manage their assets, their wealth, they get pickier. And
Yes.
I can't tell you, a week doesn't go by that they aren't like, Cokie, come on, get me invested in something interesting. The S&P 500 and utilities aren't exactly exciting them
Doesn't keep us
anymore.
up at night.
And especially with the proliferation of all the startups and all the tech accelerators across the country, people want in on the newest, best GoFundMe.
That's right.
And this excites me. This is why I said yes to the cohort and to becoming a mentor to eFundYourHealth, because
That's right. Thank you.
not only is this not a GoFundMe, which
Right.
is an incredible model. And what I
Yes.
think I love what you shared about GoFundMe is that it's the biggest nonprofit
That's right.
out there. No one really sees it as a nonprofit,
That's right.
but there's no tax deductibility. And
Mm.
quite frankly, there's really no accountability or culpability as to where the funds go.
There you go. And that's the difference in our business model. We've got a few value propositions that make us unique. And one of them, as you said, is the accountability. The patients receive debit cards that are restricted to medicine. Number two, they come in from practitioners. That's called a B2B model, business to business model, right? We do that for two reasons. Number one, there's 187,000 alternative medical practitioners in the United States and growing. So I've got a huge channel.
Contrast that to medical doctors.
Oh, beyond. There are many, many more medical doctors. But what's interesting is half of the practitioners on my site are MDs.
Okay.
MDs
so they're doing
are
both.
excited.
The MDs are seeing,
Sure
thankfully,
they are.
the value
Sure
of,
they
of
are.
both types of
And the
therapies,
problem with
traditional
the-
and non-traditional.
Exactly. And the problem with the MD financial experience right now, is their hands are tied. They cannot provide uninsurable cash-based products and services because of their patients. Now the MDs have an avenue to say, go to eFundYourHealth, get financed on there,
Right.
and we will be notified when you receive your debit card, and we will set up your appointment. And now what I love about my practitioners, they're setting up the appointments already. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're going strong. Now, and they give me a lot of customer service calls. When is the money coming in? So I'm like, they got to close the campaign.
So that leads me to a very big question. I'm sure you're prepared for this.
Uh-oh.
What is when the money comes in, I'm leading you. I should not lead the witness.
That's okay.
What if today were to be a perfect day for you?
Oh,
And I am going to say keep it in the eFundYourHealth.com realm, okay? Because
absolutely.
you're a dynamic person, and perfect days are made for all of us from many different facets. You've got the personal, you've got the professional, we've got our core and our experiences and our finances, of course. But as it relates to eFund Your Health, what would make today a perfect day?
Oh, that one is easy, because what comes to mind is we are currently raising our second round of funding. It's $250,000, and we have got potential investors that are talking with us now. They come in $25,000 increments. So we're absolutely excited about that, and it is per our business plan. So my perfect day number one would be that my investors or potential ones would come in to finance this second round so we can launch nationwide after this first round beta was successfully accomplished. So that number one, absolutely hands down, is those investors.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to also lead by saying, and why? Because this is what I do. When people want me to help them with their perfect days, and they give me that succinct, specific, and measurable answer, which was an awesome. It sounds like a perfect day. I would like that perfect day.
That's right.
But then I asked the why.
Absolutely. Two reasons. Number one, the equity position in the company is a financial return on investment. And the trajectory on the company is looking extremely good right now. The metrics are coming in real strong.
Right.
The number of practitioners, number of patients
So
using
sold.
the site.
Sign me up.
There you go.
And now I'm going to push you further.
Okay.
Why does attaining that funding make a perfect day for you, PJ?
Because I can launch nationwide. I
Okay.
can launch nationwide and finance the staff that is required to successfully make this happen.
And make people healthy.
Well, you took the words, of course, right out of my mouth there. That is
I
my
have to
priority.
do that a lot when I'm engineering perfect days. Sometimes we lose sight of the why and the why and the why. And
That's
the
right.
why is,
That's right.
was it Matt
Yes, it was.
going from 95 pounds to 140?
Yes, in 2.5 months.
In 2.5 with the
Yes.
alternative therapies you brought to him?
Well, and
That's the why.
Yes, and
right?
as we were chatting, we were chatting about that. The perfect day is when I get a call or I get an email from one of the patients that says that they've gained the weight, or that they've reversed lupus, or that they can get off a couch with MS. When suddenly a two-time New York State track and field champion was stricken with MS at the age of 35. This is a real patient on the site. And I personally saw him get off the couch in 90 days. So, that
Wow.
is
That's
always,
the why. That's a perfect
you're
day,
exactly
isn't it?
right.
And
Yes.
we don't see that happening today. It's like it's
That's
hard
right.
to imagine writing someone's chronic or potentially terminal illness
That's
in
right.
a day, but the money could make it happen.
That's right.
And
It
so
can.
that's really what this show is all about, is to really help those out there understand that perfect days take money.
Yes.
And I love that your mom raised you that
That's
like
right.
money wasn't an ugly topic or something
absolutely.
we couldn't talk about. But the nasty truth is that perfect days are hard without money.
That's right.
And it does take money to build and round out the true wealth
That's right.
picture. And I am so excited about your platform. I'm so excited
right.
about your passion. And
Thank you.
I feel it and I see it. And it's just driven from such a beautiful place
Isn't it great?
of
Isn't it?
wellness, from an incredible story, real life story that was your own, and your son's wellness and the success
That's right.
he had with alternative therapy to his own Crohn's disease.
That's right.
I know that eFund Your Health has got a great and very bright future.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited about it, and I'll tell you what, it is nice to have that internal fire that burns 24/7 for what you do on a daily basis. So a good day is having that fire
Yes.
inside and being able to put your skills together and your past experience and your finances together to achieve a mission. And that's what eFund Your Health does for me personally.
That sounded like a perfect day commercial.
There you go.
Yeah. So
right.
with that, I want to thank you again for being here
Thank
today.
you.
And to our listeners, for those of you who are looking to create more perfect days in your life and need a framework, go to 411reset.cokiebarini.com and we can create together a customized perfect day for you.